And our next panelist is the Honorable Prem Singh. Honorable Singh is an opposition member of the National Federation Party, the Parliament's Business Committee, Standing Orders Committee, and is a member of the Parliament Standing Committee on Economic Affairs. Honorable Singh became a member of Parliament in December 2001. No wonder you give me a lot of headache in Parliament. And was the leader of the opposition from October 2001 to September 2002. Served as a councillor on Nandi Town Council and was a deputy mayor of the town from 1999 to 2001. He has served in various capacities in social, religious, and community organizations. Honorable Singh is a prominent cane grower and a businessman in Nandi. Honorable Prem Singh, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, Minister for Tourism, Industry and Trade, my fellow panelists, ladies and gentlemen. I guess to start off and attempt to answer the question before us, which is, will Fiji's tourism industry lead to greater economic prosperities? How do we have a sustainable growth in the industry is something that I'll focus on. Madam Speaker, I will not bore you with the statistics, as the Honourable Minister has alluded to the GDP growth, the ratios, and of course the Minister and I have had a little discussion over it for quite some time. I think it's 3 years now. I come from the jet-set town of Nandi, which is the gateway to and a hub of Fiji, and I know when the tourism dollar surrounds Nandi. And tourism activities all over the country are in confined stages. And once we start talking about it, I'll just refer you back to what the former governor of Reserve Bank, Mr. Whiteside, said in the local media on the 16th of June 2016. To quote, he said, according to the central bank's estimates, 60% of the tourism dollar leaves the country, which means 40 cents of the tourism dollar remains in Fiji. And it's no secret that the tourism dollar is worth less than the dollar from sugar in terms of the multiplier effect. So, and he also said that the Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association was commissioning a study to look into the matter. So we hope that these reports, once they're compiled, they be implemented as soon as possible for the sustainability that we're talking about. We talk about data. Tourism, credible tourism numbers such as arrivals are not to be confused with our visitors who are merely transiting, or those from cruise liners here for a day trip, or our locals returning from abroad. Depends on the government. Our endeavors to meet the 1 million visitor arrival mark inches slowly forward. A rapid ramp forward will depend solely on the government and its policies. And as we point of my discussion briefly on the issue of data, simply because it is from the indicators that we collect that we can then honestly dissect what is needed in order to realize our 1 million tourist arrival in a quicker fashion. A detailed and honest study on the benefits of tourism and transparent statistics is also very necessary. Robust data will highlight whether the service turnover tax, the environment and climate adaptation levy, and VAT are tempting enough to induce current and future visitors to choose Fiji over Bali. Instead of STT and environment and climate adaptation levy, ensuring a minimum wage in the tourism industry would be a preferable way to distribute benefits of tourism. Through employment in the tourism sector, the minimum wage should be nothing less than $5, as has been alluded to by our party on many occasions. And, Madam Speaker, a living wage pegged at $5 cannot stand alone as a standalone measure, but rather a cluster of various policies all working in tandem to bring about both directly and indirectly. Now, if that happens, I'm sure tourism has a great way ahead. Madam Speaker, the 2016 December report by the Fiji Bureau of Statistics, UNESCO and the UN World Tourism Organization on a feasibility report to measure Fiji's sustainable report points to a similar argument. The report said, and I quote, "The assessment finds the need for a statistical framework and associated information on sustainable tourism, both highly relevant and feasible for Fiji. While measurement challenges exist, there is a substantive statistical infrastructure on which to build and a high chance of immediate application and use of information on sustainable tourism to support policy analysis and development and monitoring. Robust data will tell us whether tax-paid subsidies to our national airline for marketing, firstly, the new Singapore route, and now just marketing generally, is whether the return on investments in terms of numbers from those exploratory locations is being realized. Are our freight code share arrangements working in favor towards the million tourist arrival goal? This can only be answered by the government. The established brands of tourism accommodation may be feeling the pinch of fiscal measures, but our very own Fijian-made small and medium operators are doubly disadvantaged and expected to wear the fluctuations in tax measures without the same safety nets that are established for established brands. What we should have considered in our newer Fijian-made small and medium-term operators to be exempt from paying taxes for at least 5 years or so, to allow them to get established and expand and become solo flight ready. Similarly, the established brands that enjoy access to initiatives like the popular American Survivor show must show some level of corporate social responsibility and allow spillovers into other smaller operations rather than greedily monopolize it. If we turn quickly to UN Sustainable Development Goals and the current government's goal to go green, as highlighted in the Green Growth Framework, what incubation is the government providing for more of our tourist operators to move into organic economy and boost our national organic agriculture through a circular economy that also looks in culinary and agro-tourism? Will we see any rapid shifts in this paradigm soon? Sustainable Development Goals, particularly SDG target 8.9, 12B, and 14.7 are relevant for sustainable tourism sector. Our long-awaited Green Growth Framework and the draft overview of our 5- and 20-year development plans captures some attention for tourism. The reports present minimal synergies with the SDGs. For such critical sector and what is supposed to contribute towards our GDP, clarity on various initiatives, that is statistics, benchmarks, and monitoring need enhanced definition. We note that the growth of ethical tourism globally, indeed the UN World Tourism Organization highlights this niche market at a March meeting this year, reaffirmed the Larrakia Declaration adopted by the World Indigenous Tourism Alliance in 2012, which enjoys the support of UN World Tourism Organization as a landmark document for the empowerment of indigenous peoples through tourism. The point I make here is tourism's Fiji's happiness marketing approach is noted, but the pitch of our happy children is odd with the crime statistics. What we might want to consider doing is to tell our village, communities, settlements, our history better. And our homegrown narrative of Girmitia and where they are today, our old war fortresses of Laboni and Natewa, the stories of our multicultural communities such as Solomon Islands, Samoa, Tonga, Rambi settlers, all these are rich cultural experiences that speak to our competitive advantage as a tourist destination, and I'm sure it will attract a lot of ethical tourism. Finally, in closing, Chair, I acknowledge the various representations from the various stakeholders present around your table today, and the Honorable Minister of Tourism, the rep from USP, from the Fiji Hotel Tourism Association, and most importantly, Mr. Rai from the workers rep, and of course, my honor today to represent the opposition side in Parliament. The thoughts and answers to questions that we leave with you, the public listening through live stream, but will this conversation be an open-ended one, or can we close the loop and look to actually affecting something tangible? And this is solely up to the government. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you very much, Honorable Prem Singh. You certainly are an experienced politician. And yes, your quotation, somebody's that has mentioned that 60% of the tourism dollar is generated and kept outside of Fiji, and 40% is within Fiji compared to the sugar dollar. And no wonder you're a good sugar farmer. But thank you very much, Honorable Prem Singh. Your information on tourism data, as you have mentioned, is a bit questionable. And you've given some examples of initiatives that could be taken on board to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals.